Fault line promise. The night the bay taught us to breathe. The floor rolled like surf. The OCC went black between blinks. And a voice on mutual aid, one I didn't know yet, said my name like a stair rail. Leo, do not re-energize traction power. Bring them to Civic Center mezzanine. I'll hold the airway cart at the west gate now. I'm Leo Ramírez, 28, train control technician in the BART Operations Control Center in Oakland. My office is a room full of soft light and decisive voices, where track diagrams crawl across displays and the hum of radio, fiber, and caffeine powers 21 cities at once. My job is simple in the way that makes it complicated. Make electrons and steel cooperate. Keep the public from meeting the third rail by accident. Talk trains through bad days without letting them feel the fear I take home at 2 a.m. I grew up in San Leandro, learned to count by mileposts, and to breathe by counting seconds between aftershocks. I keep a Sharpie in my breast pocket and a little hex key on my keyring, because the difference between hold on and we're rolling is often one screw and a sentence said right at 9:16 p.m. on a dry October evening. The Hayward Fault remembered it had opinions. P waves rattled the mugs on the fiber rack. I told my body drop, cover, hold, but my hands kept moving because job. Then S waves threw the building into sign. Ceiling tiles hiccuped. A UPS squealed. My console did a quick impression of a planetarium going through a breakup. The seismic PTC alarms painted the board constellations of red, and the automatic interlocks did what they were born to. Tripped traction power across half the map, and stopped trains everywhere they could be stopped without inventing new funerals. My headset picked up 12 voices at once and made it one braid. Train ops, traction power, station agents, patrol, fire, mutual aid. Then one new voice, not ours yet, threaded through the channel with a clarity tempered in ambulances. BART OCC. This is paramedic Ethan Cho, SFFD medic 61. Patched via DEM. We're rolling on reports of smoke odor at Civic Center and possible entrapment. I need power confirmation. Do not re-energize third rail anywhere west of Powell until you hear the word clear from fire. He did not ask. He instructed. In a quake, that's what love sounds like. Medic 61, I said. Copy all. This is Leo at OCC. Traction power is down Civic to Daly City segments. We're holding all trains. Fans are on manual at Civic. We'll bring evac to Mez West. What else? Airway cart and stair chair staging, he said. I'll keep DEM quiet for your station instructions. You give me blue light certainty or people will touch rails because panic and dark. Copy certainty, I said, then meant it. But the truly shocking part hadn't happened yet. The Transbay Tube, that concrete straw that teaches the bay to share, went amber, then green again. That meant structure sensors liked our choices. Powell station agent said smoke smell descending from the street. Civic agent said dust in the stairwell like the city was shaking out its coat. On my diagram, train 188 sat between Civic and Powell, stopped, intact, pissed. The operator Williams keyed up with the voice of a man who doesn't waste adjectives. OCC 188, no derail, passengers upright, lights low. We've got one elderly, 2 anxious, 1 asthma. I can hold if the world holds me. Copy, 188, I said. Stay with us. We're de-energized. Patrol walking in from Civic on the walkway. I'll call your string number at 30-second intervals because people love rhythm. I started the cadence people don't know is wizardry. Train 188. This is OCC. Your third rail is gaunt. That's dead. Do not step down. Conductor rail is to your right. Passengers will exit left onto the emergency walkway when patrol arrives. Breathe in for 4, out for 6. We're going to do this slow and right. Leo, Ethan said in my ear. We're 2 minutes out from Civic. DEM brief. 2 seizures reported at Powell. Likely stress. 1 sprained ankle at Civic. Smoke is dust. We'll take the west gate. Easier skid to EMS Bay. Copy. West gate at Civic is your door, I said, and felt a stupid, immediate relief at how easily we spoke like we'd practiced for years. I thought the worst of it was electricity. But the bay writes second acts in concrete and breath, and the night took aim at our lungs. Traction confirmed the TPSS at Civic was locked out and tagged. I signed the log with hands that decided to be steady. Station agent at Civic said the mez was crowding. I heard someone clatter a sand bucket, old school tools for old school problems. The emergency exhaust fans coughed and then leaned in like they were union. Patrol to OCC, a voice said with the musical lilt of a person from Vallejo. We're at the south portal to 188. Flashlights up. Passengers tracking left. Operator calm as a monk. We'll walk them in strings of 15. Copy. 2 beats between groups to keep the line from thinking it's a river, I said. He laughed, which is an intervention in the body. I asked Williams to keep talking, to be the metronome. He told jokes about A's games and Bay Bridge traffic that made failed metaphors into medicine. I turned to Ethan's patch and gave him a count he could use to stage. First 15 out of tunnel in 1 minute. 1 elderly, 1 asthma in first string. Received, Ethan said. And I heard ambulance doors somewhere, and the clatter of the airway cart, and the sound of people being ready. I didn't know his face. I knew his competence. An aftershock rolled under the building like a dog scratching, and the monitors did the wiggle dance. And somebody in the room said, "Oh, come on," softly and reverently, and then the diagram settled. Train 188, OCC. Confirm we're ready to walk, I said. We are, Williams said. And then the radio went white for half a second, the way radios do when the world edits your sentence. The white cleared. 188, door sticks on car 2, left side. We can muscle it. Stand by. I had a mental inventory of door latches that belonged to trains I've never stepped on. Williams, I said. Manual release top gutter. Left of center. Heel palm first. Then pull. If it fights, skip that door for your first string and go back after. Copy, he said. And then, got it. I pressed the push to talk for Ethan. First group now. We see them, he replied. Voice dipped to the low register leaders use when crowds have ears. West stair is clear. We're clipping rails on the stair chair. Asthma is with me. I imagined his hands without permission. Strong, precise, practiced. The sort of hands that talk valves and shoulders into cooperation. Wait. Don't miss this detail. A teen with black nail polish and a backpack of pins stopped at the turnstile and told the station agent in a voice taught by theater, "My little brother is still on the train." The agent looked at me like radios aren't all-knowing. I asked Patrol for the car count and the orphan count. Patrol came back with a dry, good sentence. 1 sibling pair reunited. He was behind the pole crying at his own bravery. I took a breath I didn't know I owed myself. The second string started walking. Ethan kept his airway cart where it could be a promise and a threat. The asthma woman's peak flow liked albuterol the way rain likes roofs. My hands wrote log lines that would become someone's morning. OCC, it's Ethan, he said calmer now. Be aware. Civic West stairwell has hairline cracks, cosmetic from the look. But we've put a cone where a chunk of plaster fell. No re-energize until my captain gives it love. Copy. No power until fire clear, I said again. Because repetition is a ladder in the dark. Rehook. I thought evacuation would be the story. But a station is a city, and cities breed subplots. The next call bent the night toward us. OCC, Powell agent said. We have seizure in North Concourse. Postictal now. SFFD en route. Also a sprained ankle east stair. Ethan, I said. Can you spare a unit to Powell? Medic 61 is anchored at Civic, he said. But Medic 41 is staging 2 blocks out. They'll take it. I can spare me for your ankle if you loan me a stair chair and a cop. I'll throw in a station agent, I said. Deal, he said, and smiled into the radio. You can hear that. He arrived at the west gate in a flash of bluish jacket and calm. Korean-American, early 30s, SFFD patch on his sleeve, headlamp band indented his forehead. Stray bits of drywall dust flecked his hair like someone with a gentle hand had spattered snow just on him. His eyes did what competent people's eyes do. Took inventory and declared the room a problem he liked. Leo? He asked, and I nodded, guilty at how fast the syllable felt good coming from him. Ethan. Thanks for the no-power promise, he said. Let's steal that ankle. We moved as a 2-person algorithm. He carried weight tipped just so. I played bad furniture spotter and crowd kindly mover. The ankle belonged to a woman in a Cal sweatshirt, whose friends had built a protective joke bubble around her. Ethan palpated, made face, rapped ace, and taught crutch technique in 2 sentences like he was born into the job. When he said, "You okay?" to me later, after we'd handed her off, it wasn't an afterthought. It was a ritual he'd already decided to repeat. I keep being, I said, and watched his cheekbones do a tiny, private relief. Me too, he replied. A runner came down the west stairs fast enough to make a story. There's a guy, down on the platform, blue. The word blue changes what you think is important. Ethan went forward without drama. I kept people back with sentences. Help is coming. We need space. You'll be first when it's time. Station agent unlocked the swing gate. Ethan hit the platform, checked the scene like he could read molecules, and knelt by a man whose skin had decided a color you don't want. No power confirmed, he shouted without looking. No power confirmed, I said so fast and certain the room believed. He went to work. Sternal rub, jaw thrust, OPA ready, BVM poised. "Pulse," he said, and a BART patrol officer with a past life as a lifeguard said, "Faint." Ethan nodded. "Breathe for him. Bag gently. Watch the chest." He rolled the man, checked for medical alert jewelry, found nothing, found a wallet, read a name he didn't share, and did a little math that put kindness in the room without making promises it couldn't keep. "C-spine neutral," he told the officer, who became a human caller. "Leo," he said without looking up. "Tell your operator door sticks again in car 2. There's a gasket that'll be a pain later. Also tell Dem we're transporting one emergent when Medic 61 wheels in." He bagged. The man's blue reconsidered and argued its way toward a color we all prefer. Medic 61 rolled on, gurney legs like insect limbs, a captain with gloves and intent. They packaged the man in less time than it takes to explain packaging. Ethan stood, rotated shoulders in a quick apology to his rotator cuff, and looked at me like oxygen. "You okay?" he asked again. "Still being," I said. He smiled. Small. Real. "Me too." I thought the platform save would cap the adrenaline. But the tube prefers bigger math. And the next report bent every voice in the OCC. OCC, tube sensors flagged a water intrusion under Yerba Buena like the bay wanted to make an argument inside our straw. Traction shouted a phrase that sounds scarier than it is. Nuisance alarm. Engineering said no volume, no flow, false positive. Dem radioed a spurt of conspiracy from a man on Twitter. We dismissed him with compassion. Williams on 188 reported last strings stepping into light. The diagram didn't look like a map anymore. It looked like a promise we'd mostly kept. "OCC," Ethan said in the patch. "We can declare Civic medically stable for now. If you need me at Powell for seizure calls, I can float. Also, do not re-energize without captain's clear. Stair cracks are ugly but dumb. Still, optics matter." "Copy. We wait," I said. I wanted to ask 5 questions about him, about whether his shoulders always carry this. Instead, I said, "Thank you for making sentences people can stand in." He shrugged it off like it was nothing. "That's how you know it was everything." The station agent tapped my elbow. "Real contact is rare in OCC land. You do, like, calm better than a playlist," he said. "Tell your dude thanks for not yelling." "He's not my dude," I said automatically, then heard my mouth being a liar. "Yet," the agent said, and smiled like he had access to spoilers. Cliffhanger. An aftershock played the mezz like a drum. A ceiling tile gave up and landed harmlessly on a bench like a tired frisbee. My headset hissed once, then cleared into a quiet I didn't trust yet. We started the reverse ballet, clearing trains to yard, answering why to people who are new to infrastructure, confirming the no and no power until fire said yes. Ethan checked corners of the mezz the way a person checks their grandmother's steps. Gentle. "Exact, Leo," he said softly, "not on the patch now." Standing beside me in the West Gate shadow while Medic 61 prepped a transport. "I know 2 good questions for after. One is coffee. The other is dinner. But I don't ask during. I just say I'm here." He wasn't looking for an answer. But the part of me that recognizes shelter put a hand on the table to avoid doing something reckless like hug a paramedic in a crisis. "I'm here," I said instead, and it was wildly insufficient and perfectly correct. I thought the night would taper, but the bay loves a curtain call, a last call for service that said, "Choose your verbs carefully." Powell called. The seizure had settled, the sprain was home with a ride, and a stationary escalator had become a seating chart for 20 friends who needed to be told one more time that aftershocks are not personal. Civic agent reported bathroom door that didn't, and a trash fire in a can that put itself out before anyone could make it a story. Fire captain appeared in my ear like a gavel. "BART OCC. Fire at Civic. You're clear to restore 3rd Rail Powell North and Daly City South. Hold traction at Civic until we green tag the stairwell. Ventilation you can put to auto. Good work. Thank you for the radio discipline." I wrote clear in the log with a stanza of gratitude. Traction did their dance, tags removed, breakers checked, blue lights verifying our sanity. Train control fed the diagram green the way you feed a growing kid pasta. Operators did cab checks with the patience of saints. People clapped reflexively when lights got brighter. It wasn't for us. It was for all of us. "Ethan," I said, "we're restoring some power. Civic remains dark by choice. City wants platform cleared for a sweep." "Copy," he said. He turned to the room and said, in his radio voice that is also his church voice, "Friends, we're going to walk now. Slow and together. We'll check the stairs for you so you don't have to check them with your bodies. There is no prize for being first. There is one for being kind. People did what the sentence told them to do because it held them up like scaffolding. When the platform finally emptied to the number the agent called enough, I took my headset off to let my neck remember it has preferences. Ethan leaned against the gatepost exactly not touching me. He smelled like alcohol swabs and new tires and clean t-shirt under sweat. You okay? He asked again simply. Because ritual is how we keep new promises from being shy. I keep being, I said. Me too, he said. And then he surprised both of us by letting the sentence have a body. He let his forehead rest against mine for one beat. PG-13. In a room where 400 people had just learned to be smaller together. It was inventory, not a headline. It was a yes. A station camera, one of those honey locust-colored domes, turned as if curious. We stepped apart like we'd been planning to anyway. Medic 61 rolled a patient past who still needed help more than we needed symbolism. 48 hours later, SFFD compiled a recap thread with BART reposts, stats, USGS shake maps, Transbay inspection notes, a photo of a kid in a helmet drawn with sharks on it. The last card was a grainy still from Civic Center's Mez West camera. 2 small figures under a sign that read, Oakland, Pittsburgh Bay Point, foreheads inclined for 1 heart's count. The caption read, with surprising poetry for a city account. Small, honest, enough. Ethan texted me the link first, then a message that was both question and answer. Dinner? Always, I wrote. Good, he replied. Because I am. We ate jjajangmyeon and garlic wings at a late-night spot in the inner sunset that understands how shift work changes the sun. He told me about running calls during Fleet Week, about CPAP masks that fight back, the rule he writes on the first page of every new notebook. Start with breathing. I told him about wayside boxes that pick the worst nights to be shy, about interlockings with personalities, about the time a raccoon found theological meaning in a train-to-wayside antenna. We didn't pick a schedule. We made a rule. When USGS Shake Alert pings our phones, we text here. When the first aftershock makes the plants shiver, we text me too. He keeps a spare OPA in my glove box because he's him. I keep a Sharpie in his medic bag because I'm me. Sometimes the safest place is not under a desk or between the yellow line and the wall. Sometimes it is the inch between 2 foreheads on a mezzanine night while the bay edits its posture. Sometimes it is a voice on mutual aid saying your name like a stair rail. I'm here, I tell him when the floor negotiates again. Me too, he says. And the Bay Area, stubborn, seismic, and complicated by love, lets us try again.